Colin, thank you for being here at the
Thank you
AES
for inviting
Expo.
me. And
hey, cheers.
good memories. The last time it was 2019.
Pre-COVID, we have a pre-COVID show, and this is our first, entry into actually,
I can see you now.
Well, there aren't many Canadian shows.
Right.
Why aren't there many Canadian shows?
Yeah, it's been a frustration on my part. I don't get it. I think we all get so busy that the enormous task that, as you know, it is, which you guys very kindly step up, but it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, yeah.
And
it is a lot of work.
At the same time, there were shows. I was on the committee of a show which was called Professional Sound. Do you remember those days?
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And again, it carved its own niche, but it was part of the MEAC in those days.
That's right.
The Music Industry Association of Canada. And so you had one large room which was full of guitars.
Yep.
And try and tell an AV guy that, oh no, we're next door, but just mention guitar and they didn't come.
I get you.
So now this is, where the media now is the catchword.
I gotcha.
And so do we need a media show? Yes. Do we need an Infocom
type of trade show?
Type trade show for Southern Ontario? I think it'll be well supported, but who's willing to step up?
No, thanks, Colin. I think it's very important to have such trusted brands like Lectrosonic support the AES in our community.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Lectrosonic is wireless microphones mainly. You're big in portable, mobile theater. Tell me about the Lectrosonic name and where its reputation is strong in the community.
Well, we always traditionally started out as one of the earliest exhibitors, funny enough, at NAB.
Okay.
Back to talk about shows.
Okay.
NAB in its day was an outdoor show. Everybody had their little tent.
Okay.
With a table, and that's how it started. It was a bunch of guys.
Okay.
There were some Canadian dealers that got in on the ground floor of that, and it just sort of grew from there into this, how many football fields of.
Yeah.
But it started as a broadcast, primarily news show. I remember even going to an NAB broadcast show where George Bush Sr. opened the show. It was always opened by the US president because it was and should still be a figurehead for freedom of speech. So we do come from an industry where we are fighting to preserve freedom of speech still, right?
Yes.
So Electro invented the plug-on transmitter.
Okay.
So that was them. Yeah. And cemented themselves then with a number of regional broadcasters as well as the mainstream broadcasters.
Okay.
And then that grew into film production and predominantly features. Okay. Which we still a staple product. Shows like Barbie and Mission Impossible and etc. And then reality, obviously.
Okay.
But then we're still growing very much into live sound.
Yes.
And the new realm of the YouTubers.
Content creators.
Yeah. Hence our takeover recently.
That's right. Yeah. So Lectrosonics, with that evolution from the plug transmitter. The plug-on transmitter. You evolved from probably like an FM to a UHF. The spectrum has changed in wireless microphones.
Sure.
How do some of the laws and legislations impact the changes in wireless microphones?
We've had a number of. I think it was in 2019 where we discussed the auctions and stuff. And don't forget the theater niche. Sorry.
The theater.
We're very, very much smallest, lightest transmitter for wigs and Broadway and etc.
Love it.
That's a big question. I mean, how has it evolved? It's always driven by, unfortunately, in North America, by government departments that feel that they can still freely auction our free spectrum, which they then earn billions of dollars auctioning, as opposed to the approach. And that's driven, of course, no disrespect, but to the cell phone industry.
Cell phone industry, yeah.
So everybody wants more and more bandwidth, more now. YouTube now has obviously become so on demand.
Yeah.
So that creates a need for more bandwidth, etc., etc. But it all started with VHF.
Okay.
So that little plug-on was a VHF transmitter back in the day. And funny enough, that has come full circle now. We're finding that even VHF now may be back in demand because of and for certain applications.
Yes, yeah.
But because the UHF is very predominant, and then there's other manufacturers that have looked at bandwidths more going up to even 1260 now meg, which is hard to believe. But I think the difference in North America as opposed to the European approach was vastly different, as well as Japan.
All right.
So Japan really offered a buyback to all the users of that bandwidth, which I think is more than fair.
Right.
And said, we'll buy it back, and then we now are auctioning off that portion, but at least they were compensated.
They were compensated,
In the UK, it was the similar thing, an organization that did it very sort of methodically, etc., etc. Maybe it's harder to do in North America, so that basically there's licensing regimented now into the US legislation. Most people are getting licensed, and there is coordinators in each city where those licenses are respected.
That's right.
Canada's always been a different approach where we're known as LPA, it's like low power apparatus.
Okay, yeah.
And you can be unlicensed and unprotected.
Right.
Or you can be licensed and still
somewhat protected
until you interfered with, and then it's on a non-interference basis that you were licensed. So we've had a resistance to people getting licensed, but at the same time there are a lot of producers, sports predominantly, that have licensed themselves, and so that's where we're at. It's UHF that is still predominant.
Interesting.
Which is the reason why Rode got talking to us.
Totally.
For our expertise in that regard. Yeah.
In terms of theater and film, like there's this real need to not be eavesdropped on.
Very much so.
Right?
Yeah.
So now that you have products like your digital DSSM and stuff like that, like what has digital done to transmitters and receivers in your world when it comes to just security and privacy and reliability?
I'm glad you brought that up,
use?
and encryption is a big one.
Okay.
We felt it would take off much more in earlier years, but it didn't seem to. But now it seems to be becoming more of just an absolute standard, especially the sports broadcasters. So you don't want to have someone, eavesdropping on your horse race.
That's right.
And then placing bets,
Okay.
that sort of stuff.
Listening to the referee chatter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
Get a good heads up on them. So that's essential.
Okay.
And that's very much part of the full digital realm.
Okay.
There's so many other efficiencies to full digital. I'm not saying, Lectrosonics always come from a patent which still exists, which is digital hybrid. So that's a mix of digital audio still being transmitted over FM, but that's evolving now to full digital, and the sound quality is phenomenal. I mean, there is no noise floor.
That's right.
So it's quite surreal to work, but for those who hear the difference,
well, and it's getting closer and closer to wire as you're encoding it at the transmitter. I totally get that.
But different flavors. There's 8 PSK versus 16 𝐴 versus etc.
That's right. Yeah.
But it all comes down, we feel, to that audio quality ultimately.
In theater and in production in unknown environments, harsh environments, like sweat is the enemy, being dropped is the enemy. I know Lectrosonics has always been known for their robustness and attention to detail when it comes to being a sealed package. What new innovations and standards and stuff are you dealing with when it comes to the ruggedness of these transmitters?
Yeah, we've been working for at least 5 years on this new transmitter called the DSSM.
Okay.
So it's a digital version of our smaller, tiny, lightest SSM that's been used in theaters.
Okay.
The mandate was to get that to the similar size, however with dock charging, and totally immersible.
All right.
So in other words, both the antenna connector and the mic connector are now totally water resistant.
Is it like an IP standard?
It is an IP standard actually that we had to, and a rigorous one called IP57.
Okay.
Which means in order to get that ultimate certification, you have to immerse that transmitter in 1 meter of water for 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm still holding my breath, right? I didn't go down.
It's not going to happen.
But I mean, that was the qualification for IP57. How would that work in terms of reality shows?
Yeah.
Peace of mind.
Peace of
Theaters not necessarily putting those transmitters into condoms, and that proverbial sweat that actually rolls down the cable of the lav into the connector, regardless of what transmitter, is always the enemy. So it's confidence maybe is going to be, and the size, weight versus competitors, but full digital, but best audio again.
That's just
so in a package that the market demands, which is smaller,
lighter, faster, stronger, always. So when it comes to like the environment, a lot. I have seen oil drums full of AA, AAA, 9-volt batteries. How has the battery changed in some of these transmitters?
Well, lithium is very predominant, obviously, in the full digital realm. We also very much push the nickel metal hydride.
Okay.
Based on a 2500 mAh, just in terms of longevity, especially in Canada, resistance to cold weather, the recharge, the discharge rate, etc. That's still very reliable. We're using those on our IEMs, which are actually full digital, but they rechargeable product called Eneloop Pro, which is made by Panasonic. We use those extensively. Actually out on the Foo Fighters right now, touring with a 16 stereo mix.
Cool.
However, we're very, 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 focused on that now. So the new little DSSM has a charging point, so a charging dock now.
Okay.
So again, you can just simply not have to remove the batteries. It's not a throwaway lithium.
That's right.
It's the same lithium battery again as the SSM. So if you do own SSMs, you can still continue using. But most important is very much the dock charging concept.
Right.
Is especially for theater use.
Yeah. Does the dock, improve the longevity of devices?
Each product's different.
Yeah.
It just depends on each product had its own, benchmark, I guess.
Yeah.
But invariably, 6.5 hours is plenty. We find relatively in a theater type environment. Some reality shows demand more, and it depends. We're not in the early phases of Lectrosonics where we were getting 2.5 on certain reality shows. And I
totally get it.
People were like, give us 3. No, but that's a 1 AA type version.
Yeah.
And again, through most movie scenes, again, in those high-end movies, they were still fine, relatively. But obviously the environment is a very big factor.
Yeah, it depends. So Lectrosonics, you've got an office in town, you do on-site repair. What really sets Lectrosonics apart from some of the other brands that are distributing
that commitment, that fanatical commitment to service.
Yeah.
It just is absolutely part of our DNA, because our product lasts so long.
Yeah.
We have to provide that type of service.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an Achilles heel sometimes.
That's right. Yeah. The robustness designed your way out of sales.
Never sell another
So, but speaking of selling,
no, it's a full factory bench,
certified bench. Yeah.
And we see product coming back on a regular basis. 20 years old sometimes.
Cool.
As long as we have the parts, is our philosophy.
Yeah.
We will keep that going because it is an investment.
Speaking of investments and selling, Lectrosonic got the eye of Rode microphones out of Australia. So maybe, I think that's an exciting adventure for you. Tell us a little, just to sum up here, what is exciting coming in your line from the recent acquisition?
More R&D dollars, and I mean, we've never been short of ideas.
Yeah,
we're short of engineers.
Okay,
and RF engineers in particular. I'm sure you've seen in your field.
I get that.
And so the growth will be certainly in that, and the synergies that they have too with their own engineering pool. But they approached us more in terms of our UHF technology.
Okay.
Again, they're so big in that portable podcasting type world, but it's 2.4 meg.
That's right.
And as busy as this, and their users are becoming much more demanding too, which is that, I mean, as you know, YouTube is now like a broadcaster.
That's right.
And so they need absolute reliability, and so they approached us And the more we got talking, apparently,
Yeah, they liked it.
the courtship was quick and
Made sense for them.
yeah,
No, that's good.
and us, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly very exciting.
Very cool. Well, Colin, thank you for coming by. I really appreciate you being here
Thank you
and
so
supporting
much.
the Audio Engineering
And we
Society.
really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and
Excellent.
look forward to next year.
We'll see you at the next one.